Hi. Welcome to the first part of a new series that I'm calling the Once It Wonder series. I feel like this title is very self-explanatory, but basically this is going to be a series of videos where I document and share with you all of the books that I was able to read in its entirety in one sitting. I don't have a set TBR for this video or this series at all. I have a very eclectic mix of books that I recorded for this video. There's a mix of really naturally short books that I was able to read in one sitting and I knew that I could finish it in a short amount of time. And then there are other books that I wasn't really expecting to finish in one sitting, but because the books were so good and I just couldn't put them down, I did end up reading them in one sitting. And to me, those books, gems. Those books are hidden gems. I wanted to start this series for two reasons. The first being a recommendation video, because obviously if I was able to finish these books in one sitting, I'm pretty sure you can too. And the second reason is I wanted to document all of the books that kind of sparked and ignited that magic in me of reading a book and not being able to put it down, ruining my sleep schedule so that I could stay up and finish this book. Books that I completely lost myself in. I think books like that are magical and I wanted to document that and share it with you. I also want to say that I filmed these clips and read these books at completely separate times. There are books that I read months ago and there are some books that I just read recently. I just now was able to have enough to put all of it together in one video. Without further ado, let's get on to my Once It Wonders. First book in this video is going to be Aglaviva by Clarice Lispector. I think this is the shortest book I own. It's only 88 pages. It's not even 100 pages. And I was going to read outside on our patio, but it is extremely windy right now. And not that it's cold, but I just don't want to deal with reading in the wind. We're in my room, in bed, comfortable setting. And I actually don't know much about this book. I do know that Clarice Lispector is a very well-known and beloved author, but I've never read any of their works before. This will be my first time reading from Clarice. I'm really excited. I have only heard amazing things about this author, and this is translated from Portuguese, which is really fantastic. So let's get to reading. Okay, like I said, I had no idea what this was about going into it. I just know it's a very popular piece of literature. I'm 15 pages in and it's very philosophical, giving very much an existential crisis, or I guess just questioning existence and what self is. It's really interesting. I enjoy the writing because it's very descriptive and a lot of analogies and metaphors, but it's still concrete in the message that it's trying to convey in questioning who you are and what are you, and just describing certain feelings and emotions. I don't really know how to describe this. It just feels like a long stream of conscience that keeps going and going onto different tangents, written in these small little chunks that make it really easy to get through. Yeah, really interesting so far. This is not what I expected it to be, but I'm enjoying it. I just read another little chunk that says, I'll stop for a bit because I know that the God is the world. He is whatever exists. I pray to whatever exists. It's not dangerous to approach whatever exists. Profound prayer is a meditation upon the nothing. It's the dry and electrical contact with oneself, an impersonal oneself. Wow. Interesting. I'm already on page 60. I have not been able to stop reading because I don't even really know how to explain what I'm feeling right now, because the writing in this is insane. She talks about turtles, oysters. There's like a 10-page spread on just flowers and their meaning to her, and it, for some reason, to me, it's like none of it makes sense, but then she makes it make sense. I don't know how to explain it, but the way that she kind of connects these, what seems like random thoughts in a philosophical kind of way, like relating it to oneself and how these seemingly very mundane, ordinary things relate to human beings and who we are as people and what we are, and defining. It's hard to explain, but it's so good. Some of it feels like gibberish, but smart gibberish. I sound like I'm speaking gibberish because I don't know how to explain this book. It's just really, really intense, really deep, but I really enjoy it. Some of it sounds like she's talking to you about some random tangent that she just thought of, and then she'll relate it back to something and it like makes sense. What a fever. I can't stop living in this dense jungle of words that thickly wrap around whatever I feel and think and live, and transform everything I am into something of mine that nonetheless remains entirely outside me. I'm watching myself think. What I wonder is, who is it in me who is even outside of thinking? I'm writing you all this because it's a challenge which I have to accept with humility. I'm haunted by my ghosts, by whatever is mythic and fantastical. Life is supernatural. Yeah. Okay, it is 6:18 p.m. and I have officially finished Agua Viva by Clarice Lispector. I almost feel like I maybe would have gotten more out of it if I had read it over time rather than one sitting, because it was a lot for one sitting. There's a lot of exploration of existence and how you are born from nothingness and after death become nothingness. A lot of, you know, like I said, existence, who you are, what you are, death, religion, God. There's a lot in this 88-page book. A lot of themes explored in this very tiny book, but I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing. Genuinely, I love the writing. As confusing and as almost fever dream-ish it felt, I still got the message. You know, I still understood what the author was trying to say, and it still made me think about my own existence and my own life. And this is definitely a book that I will read in my next existential crisis, because I feel like it kind of grounds you and reminds you that like it's just there's so much in existence, there's so much when it comes to life, but also nothing. I don't know how to explain it, like but I really enjoyed the writing. I thought it was very thought-provoking and very powerful writing. Very, like I said, fever dream-ish. There were a lot of tangents that she went on, things that made no sense, but then she made it make sense, like I said earlier. Yeah, just very hard to describe, but I really enjoyed the overall feelings that this brought out from me and the thinking that it made me do. I think the writing is phenomenal. Not for everyone. Definitely not writing for everyone. I mean, even me, some of it just went over my head. But I think that's kind of the point. There isn't really one central focal point to this. Like, it's meant to make you think, and it's meant to make you reflect. Really enjoy this. I'm rating it 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5, because I really like, I would reread this because I think it's very relevant and I think it's timeless. Completed the first book in this video, Agua Viva by Clarice Lispector. Hi, we are moving on to the second book in this One Sit Wonder video, and the next book that I'm going to read in one sitting is a very popular title. I feel like it just gained some popularity at least in my circle and in my social media in the past couple years, because of Jack Edwards really hyping it up and talking about this book, and that is none other than White Nights by Dostoevsky. I have been searching high and low for a physical copy of this book everywhere. I cannot find it in any indie bookstore, in any big, large corporate bookstore. It just became available in my library literally 3 weeks ago. That's after it being on order for months. So this has been impossible to find anywhere, but it finally came in my library and I'm excited to have it in my hands and be able to finally read it. It is only 94 pages. I don't know much about this book except for what Jack Edwards has said about it, and that's it. I'm fine with that. I find that I enjoy a book more when I go into it completely blind, because then I have zero expectations and I'm able to give the book a chance to take me in whatever journey it decides to take me in. I honestly didn't realize it was so short, but I'm glad that it is and I can include it in this video. So we are going to start White Nights by Dostoevsky. Okay. 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 I believe I've read the first chapter, which is just titled First Night. The next chapter is titled Second Night, so I guess these are just recounting the nights that these two people have met. The first few pages of writing are the unnamed narrator describing in great detail how familiar he is and very well acquainted with Petersburg, the city. He is walking the streets and it appears everyone has left for holiday. No one's invited him anywhere. So he is just walking the streets, minding his own business, trying to make interesting things happen in his life. And then he's walking and he sees a woman standing on the edge of a rail looking down at a canal. And he thinks to himself, she's a girl and I am sure she is dark. I am only taking that in a certain way, and I think you understand what way I'm taking that. So, okay, and all right. And then he realizes that she's crying, and so he goes to her and is like, Madame. She turns around, sees him, and starts running, like sprinting. And as she does this, a man from further down the alley that she's running down towards sees her and starts chasing her. And so then he's chasing the man that's chasing her. Okay. And then they have this really brief interaction when he finally catches up to her and he says, put your arm around me, pretend that I'm with you, and no one will bother you. And then they have this very brief interaction of them conversing, but it's him being awkward and saying how he's never had any friendships or any relationships with women and starts basically love bombing her. Mind you, I'm not even kidding you, they've only known each other for 20 seconds max at this point. And he walks her to her home. Crazy. This is definitely not a book that could take place in 2025. So I am obviously taking that into account. But he walks her to her home and says, I shall be dreaming of you all night, a whole week, a whole year. I shall certainly come here tomorrow, just here to this place, just at the same hour, and I shall be happy remembering today. This place is dear to me already. I have already 2 or 3 such places in Petersburg I once shed tears over, memories, like you. Who knows, perhaps you were weeping 10 minutes ago over some memory, but forgive me, I have forgotten myself again. Perhaps you have once been particularly happy here. And then she says, very good. Perhaps I will come here tomorrow, too, at 10 o'clock. I see that I can't forbid you. Okay. And then she tells him in a very walk to remember fashion that, but mind you, will come on the condition in the first place. You won't fall in love with me. That's impossible, I assure you. I am ready for friendship. Here's my hand. But you mustn't fall in love with me. I beg you. And then he says, you will see. The only thing is, I don't know how I'm going to survive the next 24 hours. I'm just a little bit confused here. Sir, you don't even know her name. You know her home address, but you don't know her name. Okay. I'm going to let this take me where it's going to take me. I'm a little gagged because I did not know. I did not know. Mm-hmm. Okay, the second night was a bit better than the first night because, again, the unnamed narrator is giving the woman who we figure out her name is Nastenka. He is basically telling Nastenka his history and who he is as a person, but he's explaining it to her as if he is the narrator in his own story. He is describing his life to her in third person, and it's a very unique way of telling his story, but I can kind of see why he feels like describing his life to her in that detached way, because as he's telling her his history, you realize that he is a very, very lonely man. The loneliness epidemic for men started with this man right here. But yeah, he's just describing how basically he is living his life in his dreams and how he is relying on the made-up stories in his mind. He has this crutch on escapism because reality is so bleak and obsolete for him. And he even tells her that, where is it? This is, I guess, a spoiler, so if you don't want to get spoiled for anything, you can skip forward. But he tells her, I realize now more than ever that I have lost all my best years, and now I know it and feel it more painfully from recognizing that God has sent me you, my good angel, to tell me that and show it. Now that I sit beside you and talk to you, it is strange for me to think of the future, for in the future there is loneliness again. Again, this musty, useless life. And what shall I have to dream of when I have been so happy in reality beside you? Oh, may you be blessed, dear girl, for not having repulsed me at first, for enabling me to say that for 2 evenings, at least, I have lived. Again, known this girl for barely 48 hours, but it just goes to show you that his loneliness has reached a peak that just meeting this girl who sparked his interest for, again, 2 nights has made him, has brought life back into him. It feels desperate the way that he's clinging onto her, but it also feels very relatable. It also feels relatable in modern times, not just with men, but I feel like with technology and social media, it can be very isolating, the way that you are living a very mundane life and seeing how everyone else is living on social media, but you are not actually personally interacting with any of those people. And so in your real life, you really don't have anything going on, and it starts to feel very lonely. And then you meet someone out of the blue and you kind of cling to that spark of humanity that you feel when you're around them, because like he said, it feels like they brought life into you. So it's very interesting. I don't know, like it went from a creepy man basically stalking this woman and declaring his love for her to a bigger conversation about loneliness and truly an existential crisis. The writing feels, I don't know if it's the translation. I feel like maybe if it was in its original language of Russian, that it might read a bit more fluid, but right now the descriptions are very exaggerated. It's very flamboyant writing, and the way that I'm imagining this guy talking
the way that it's written, he's like giving a dramatic monologue on stage. That's what it feels like. Like that's how big and bold his declarations and descriptions are to me. Not my favorite, but I am a little bit intrigued because it is kind of relatable, and I do see certain themes and aspects of it that a lot of people will relate to. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. We're going to continue. When I tell you that I am gagged on every level. Wow. Okay. So I don't think I've updated you since like the second night. There are 4 nights in total, but the chapter right after the second night is Nastenka's history, and you find out why she was crying on that railing when they first met. I'm not going to spoil anything, but all I have to say is once he figures out that reason, he tries to help her with the problem and the reason why she was crying. And the way that this woman friend zones him is crazy. Crazy. But also when Jack Edwards described this as a book of yearning, I get it. I totally get it. I truly was not expecting some of the things that happened. Definitely a bittersweet ending. It's bittersweet in the way that it's a sad ending, but he's also looking back on it and grateful that he had met her. I didn't love this. I didn't hate it. I also wasn't a huge fan of the writing, so I probably would rate this like a 3-star. I'm happy I read it. I was for sure taken on a journey. Not a new fave, but again, don't hate it. I would recommend if you are interested in Dostoevsky, or if you do want to read this, take a crack at it. I think it's good for what it is. Definitely a lot of conversation and dialogue on loneliness and love, really. Love of self. That was White Nights by Dostoevsky. I'm glad I finally finished it. Would I reread this? No. No, I'm not putting myself through that again. I'm glad I read it. That's that. Hi, welcome to another unexpected book that I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to complete tonight in one sitting, that I had no intention of finishing or even reading. This is on my fall TBR, but I hadn't planned on reading it this soon. I was planning on reading this particular book in the next couple of weeks. Did I plan on reading it in its entirety tonight? No, not at all. Yet here we are. So right now, I am currently reorganizing all of my books as usual. I do this once a week, and currently right now I'm sifting through my physical TBR, and I was in the process of reading the first 1 or 2 chapters of each book to see if there's anything that I am not interested in anymore. So I have gotten rid of a few that I will do an unhaul eventually. Then I picked up this book. I was reading the prologue. I was hooked. Looked up on Libby to get the audiobook, and now I have been listening to the audiobook of this book the entire time I've been going through my bookshelves. And I'm now 30% of the way through. And as I've been going through all of my books, I have been pausing literally every 10 minutes to pick up the physical copy of this book and read what I'm reading physically, because it's so good and so gripping that I just need to read the words. And that book is There There by Tommy Orange. I'm literally like, I am on page 73 now because I've just been listening to this nonstop, and this book is so good. Each little chapter or section is vignettes of a different character's life. This is written by a Native American, and all of the characters in here are Native American, and it takes place in the Bay Area, which is where I'm from and where I currently live. And it's just so fascinating to read about Native Americans in the urban setting where they're living in a city and not on the reservation. I haven't read any books by Native Americans or about Native Americans in a more urban, oh my god, hi, you can see me, in a more urban setting. So I am really enjoying this, and I'm loving the different stories of these characters. Very moving and powerful stuff here. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I can't stop reading, and I can't stop listening, at least. So yeah, I think I'm going to end up finishing this tonight. And so I'm going to take you along with me. Each section is a different character, so there's no one cohesive plot line, at least not that I've seen yet. Maybe there will be towards the end. Everything will wrap up together. As it stands, the one common factor that I think all of these characters have in common are the fact that there's a really big Oakland powwow that's coming up, and I think eventually all of these characters are going to end up going to this powwow, and perhaps their stories will intertwine, but I don't know. In each storyline, there's at least some mention of the Oakland powwow that's coming up, so maybe that's where all their stories will converge. I'm really enjoying this right now, and I can't stop reading, so I think I'm going to end up finishing this. Right now it's 10 p.m. I do have work tomorrow, and honestly, I can see myself disrupting my sleep schedule and just staying up late to read this. So I'm listening to the audiobook, but as I said, I'm picking it up randomly here and there when I'm like, I need to read what's going on. I will take you along with me as I sift through my physical TBR. Okay, so it's 2 in the morning, and I just finished I have no words right now. I need the night to process, and hopefully tomorrow I can regroup and form coherent thoughts to accurately describe what I just read. First of all, this is a 5 out of 5 stars. But that ending, what the last 30% of this, truly, I couldn't put the book down. I needed to know what was going to happen, but also what actually happened once I did find out what was happening. Wish I hadn't. Wish I hadn't. Wish I hadn't. Wow. But this book, yeah, I'm gonna have to sleep on this because right now I'm simply speechless. But this was also a lot. This was a lot. So I will form more coherent thoughts tomorrow and be able to tell you all of them, hopefully. But this was crazy. This was insane.
Okay, this is not this is not what I had planned today at all. Okay, but I was over in my little cozy hobby corner trying to add books to my fall TBR, right? For me to read for this season. And I had picked this up, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. Mind you, I haven't read Agatha Christie since I read And Then There Were None back in middle school. It's been a long time since I read any Agatha Christie. But my best friend had read this, I want to say a couple months ago, and she told me that I needed to read it and that the plot twist really gagged and gooped her. And I was like, okay, I have to read this. And I was just adding it to my little book stands that I have here. And I just decided to open the book. I was not planning. I'm in the middle of 8 books right now, okay? And I don't need to be adding another one. But I opened it and decided to read a few pages while I'm standing here, just standing here, picking books to add. And I'm now on page 46 from just standing here and reading this. So I think this is going to be a once hit wonder because I cannot put this down. I need to know what's going to happen. And yeah, so there go all of my plans for today, which I didn't really have many. But now I'm going to go downstairs and I think I'm going to finish this today in one sitting because I can't stop reading now.
So, Miss Agatha Christie, right? The woman was ahead of her time. She was truly ahead of her time. I was indeed gagged and gooped. I really was. I started that book at 1 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. I read for 4 hours straight outside. I don't regret a single minute of it. This was so good. I truly couldn't stop reading. There were, besides the plot twist of who the actual murderer was, there were some other plot twists that had me also gagged and gooped. And the woman just knows how to write a fucking mystery book, okay? Now this makes me really want to reread And Then There Were None. I say reread loosely because if I read it now, it'll be like I read it for the first time because I don't remember a single thing about that book. And oh my god, I was not expecting to read this today. This is not the book that I had planned to finish. Like I said, I'm in the middle of 8 other books right now. And the fact that I sat down for 4 hours and completely just finished and devoured this book. If you haven't read this yet, this is definitely the perfect book to read during spooky season if you want a good mystery thriller that's going to totally surprise you with the plot twist and
You can read it in one sitting. Took me 4 hours. This was good. What a great way to end this video on than to finish with Miss Agatha Christie.